Hello and welcome. This is our weekly review program, and we are going to bring to you the major events over the week as usual. And I'm Gamachisa Mandira along with my colleague Brahane Tadessa. We'll be talking about the 19th anniversary of the Ethiopian Nations and Nationalities and Peoples anniversary that is taking place at this moment, and Mofa's briefing on Ethiopia's macroeconomic reform and other related matters as well. We would like to say to you, welcome to our program again, and stay with us. Hello, Brahane.
Hello, Gamachisa. You mentioned the main points in this week, and we are here, of course, to review the main stories, the top stories, as you mentioned. And one of the stories is about the nationalities and peoples celebration.
Yes.
And we will move to, of course, to the spokesperson, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs message, the bi-weekly, of course, press briefing. And as well, we'll talk about the diplomatic issues as well. I think the first issue will be the nationalities and peoples celebration this week. And still, it is celebrated in different corners of Ethiopia. Yes. And that is a wonderful story to have. I think we can start from that one. And people, of course, talk about different issues. And I think we can mention talking about the Christmas tree, for example, you can mention. Mm-hmm. A Christmas tree will not be Christmas tree just only with one light and just with the tree. And it needs to be decorated by different kind of candles as well, mm-hmm. and different kinds of lights as well, I guess. So Ethiopia is beautiful when we have different kind of colors, I guess. So this is how beautiful you can see when the nations and nationalities of Ethiopians celebrate this beautiful holiday. And I saw that color when it was celebrated this week. And what's your take on that?
Yeah, of course, Mayor Addis Ababa mentioned the fact that Ethiopia has been the mosaic nation with different languages, with different norms, and with different cultural elements that need to be celebrated, respected. And she said that, of course, this 19th anniversary of Nations, Nationalities, and Peoples Day. Holds, just the difference of Ethiopians from all corner of life, from all regional states in the country. This difference that we have, in the country among its nations is a variety. It is, an element that needs to be respected, decorated. It is the beauty of, just the country. And she said that, Ethiopians need to celebrate and ensure that their norms, their cultural elements are respected equally. So she also mentioned the fact that, of course, this didn't happen in the past. This has to change right now, and the incumbent government is, of course, working on this, appreciating, these values, and the fact that, they are respected, appreciated is, on the front during this period of time. Brahane, what else do you add?
It is really very colorful. I was, of course, witnessing that as well in person when I was just coming to my office as well, and people wearing in different nations and nationalities, of course, dress as well, and the music they had. I was, of course, also invited to be part of the dancing as well while I was walking, and you have no idea. It was really, really beautiful. And this is one of the things the foreigners, even the visitors, could visit and enjoy as well at the same time. And you can also see when the visitors come to Ethiopia, one of the things they enjoy is seeing different nationalities and peoples celebrating as one. And unity is one of the beautiful things that we Ethiopians should respect as well.
This celebration started, this week, some 3 days ago, and it is being celebrated across Ethiopia. And of course, this celebration comes in different names. Some 3 days ago, when it started, it took place, with the name Brotherhood Day. So on this day, people showed, just togetherness, and of course, it brought, just people in different parts of the country together. And the next day it was celebrated with the name Togetherness Day. And this will, of course, featured, trade and bazaar show. And Southern Ethiopian Day, November 27 Ethiopian calendar. This celebration has been taking place, for the last 3 days. With different names, bringing people together, and they do, as mentioned earlier, different things to showcase that the Day of Nations, Nationalities, and Peoples is expected to play significant role in building a society with differences at the same time with some kind of unifying element. So being an Ethiopian has got a variety of things in it. We know that we have different cultural backgrounds, different norms, and these are brought to the front so that just they will be appreciated by the general public.
Sure.
And Ethiopia is the center. Of course, this is a unifying factor, and it is a national day that all Ethiopians embrace.
You mentioned many beautiful ideas as well. Like you talked about the brotherhood, togetherness, dialogue, and different, talking even about culture, the color as well. But I really want to talk about especially the dialogue thing. I think if people don't have dialogues, there won't be any solution for everything we're looking for. Mostly, if we are looking for change, if we believe in change, I think we have to start from dialogue. So, Gamachus, earlier we were talking about the dialogue as well, we mentioned, and how important do you think, especially when we come to countrywide, do you think dialogue is one of the most important things, or other things should come first, especially when we come as one? So, don't you think we should start from dialogues as well?
Yeah, of course. In a country like Ethiopia, where you have different cultural elements, differences are expected, differences are inevitable, and the point is, we cannot allow them, just to be a cause for conflict amongst us. And of course, members of communities, peoples in general, the general population need to find a way to bring, these, whatever they are, differences, to the table, and we need to exchange ideas on them until we come to a kind of agreement.
Yes. Before that, don't you think we should, before going to communities, going to societies, don't you think we should start within the communication? I think has to begin within ourselves. I have to talk to myself, and my colleague has to start the conversation within himself. I think so. Communications, I think, should begin within ourselves. So I think we can take it to the communities as well, and of course discuss as a nation as well. So I think we have to start talking to ourselves first before dialoguing, talking to other people as well.
Yeah, I think if we put it, technically, what you're saying right now is, of course, this interpersonal communication, interpersonal communication. And of course, before you engage in some kind of communicative act with somebody, a second person, that communication has already taken place in you. That means, first you agree that you need to do it. So having convinced yourself to take, such a measure, then, you go to people, which means you convince yourself that there must be, some kind of resolution, and that must be agreed upon, within you first, before you just go to the next step, which is, finding people around you, talking to them, and then making them, or of course, requesting them, to buy your idea, your perspective. And I think, that is what people need to do. And intrapersonal communication is, very important in that it gives us, the energy, the power, the capability to communicate, what we have with other people around us. And I think that shows people are ready to take, the next step with people next to them. Yeah, so I agree with you. So I appreciate it.
So we can take it to the dialogue as well next to it.
Exactly.
Once the personal communications are done, the communication is going well, I think we can go dialoguing it in a better way.
Exactly. And this time, the relevance or the significance of such anniversary is that, people will bring what they have to the public. You see, what's in me, I see what's in you, and vice versa. And this allows us to make ourselves ready for the next step, which is to start to see what's in you, to understand what's in you, to try to comprehend it, and then just to take it, to buy it. And in case we might have conflicts when this particular anniversary takes place, or when people bring just their ideas on the table, differences are likely to take place, to happen. And at this time, they have to be ready to entertain, the other side's point of view or perspective. And I think, this anniversary will allow people to see the differences which they later might appreciate. Viewers, shall we listen to what Mayor Addis Ababa has said on this particular anniversary?
ኢትዮጵያ የብዝሃነት ሀገር ናት።
Ethiopia is a country of plurality. Ethiopia is an outstanding nation due to the mosaic identity of nations, nationalities and peoples' language variation that entails vernaculars, cultural disparities, customary norms and religious differences. The diverse of Ethiopians shall be appropriately addressed by responding the quests of justice and other interests. This helps to solidify the foundation of Ethiopia on a firm basis.
በኢትዮጵያውያንነታችን ሁላችንም ኮርተን
We must be proud to hold hands of one another and honor the mosaic plurality that we are endowed with. We shall reinforce the foundation of our country on the basis of equality so as to realize the prosperity of our nation and its formidable statehood. That's why we stick to observing the celebration of the nation's nationalities and People's Day of our country.
House of Federation Speaker Agenyo Tashagar has also spoken, on the occasion of the celebration of the Ethiopian Day of Nations, Nationalities and Peoples.
ህዳር 29 ቀን የኢትዮጵያ ቀን ነው።
November 29 is the Day of Ethiopians. It is a big day in which nations, nationalities, and peoples share their values, cultural identities, and experiences, as well demonstrate their unity within plurality, strengthen their national democratic solidarities, and work for lasting peace, fast-paced development that ensures economic growth.
I think we can move to the next ideas. We have the issues
Yes,
as well.
yes.
And of course, this week, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs delivered the bi-weekly press briefing.
Yes.
And there were some issues mentioned there. And the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Nabiat Ketacho, mentioned different issues. I think we can start from the political diplomacy as well.
Yeah.
And Gamachis, of course, you heard Ambassador Nabiat highlighting the Ethiopia's growing role and especially stabilizing force as Horn and the region as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Ethiopia's political impact, in the region, in the Horn of Africa, has been, taking place for decades. And of course, starting from the 1950s, Ethiopia had the experience of sending its troops for peacekeeping missions in other countries. Yeah. For example, Korea is one example. But in recent years as well, for decades now, Ethiopia has been sending, its troops to different African countries, especially. For example, Rwanda is, one good example.
Yes.
And ensure that, peace prevails, in those countries. And not only that, when we come to the Horn of Africa, Al-Shabaab, for example, is, a bad player, politically speaking. And if it was not for Ethiopia's, efforts, things would have been, worsened. Yeah?
Yeah.
And Ethiopia's role in peacekeeping, in Somalia has been, very much significant. And this region, needs Ethiopia's, involvement to ensure that, peace prevails. And I think Ambassador Nabiat was not limited with mentioning the political role Ethiopia has been playing in the Horn of Africa, but also the reform, the economic reform that has taken place in Ethiopia, especially for some months now. Ethiopia has observed a significant change in terms of foreign direct investment, for instance, and Chinese investors, for instance, have been, coming to Ethiopia. They're still coming and negotiating or discussing, investment opportunities in the country. And the other thing is, of course, this diplomacy that has to do with citizens. In different parts of the world, we have, citizens that have been affected by, say, wars or human trafficking, for instance. And the Ethiopian government is taking measures, to ensure that, these citizens are brought back to the country. What else do you have?
That's one of the main points I think we can mention, especially when you were talking about the growing role of Ethiopia. Ethiopia played a great role, not only, by the way, within the Horn of Africa, even in Africa. We can mention the establishment of the African Union, Organization for African Union as well.
Yes.
Starting from that one up to now, and our Prime Minister is doing a great job still, and that is some of the points I think we can mention. And I think the global peace and stability, talking about this as well, and Ethiopia has done great achievements as well, and still it's playing its part as well. And about citizen, I think this is very common because people want to move from one place to another, and it's really natural whether we are in Africa or other continents as well. But they have to move from one place to another in a legal way, but sometimes it doesn't go that way as well. So people go with their own wills, but the Ethiopian government is doing its all great jobs to bring them back if they are suffering in different places as well. So we even witnessed that one in this week as well.
Yeah, Brian, one thing that we need to stress on is that, citizens or Ethiopians should be careful regarding, the invitations they receive from somebody abroad. Of course, they could be institutions or individuals who promise, good endings in other countries. And Ethiopians are mesmerized by that.
That is the
and
word.
of course, our economic situation pushes, people to leave the country to seek, some kind of moving out of the country, or
mostly for financial reasons.
For financial benefits.
Yes,
exactly. But one thing they need to consider is, the fact that they might be in trouble. At least, they have to ensure that the route they take, when they leave the country for another country, seeking, a better life, they need to ensure that, it is a safe route. We know, for instance, if you take, Ethiopians, young Ethiopians, they take, route through Libya. And of course, just they cross boundaries, and on their way they would face, challenges, risky challenges that risks, their lives. We hear that abductors, look for some kind of ransom, and as a result, families, in the country get into, huge trouble, and they are made, to sell their properties, to sell their houses, for instance, and then, free the abductees, which is, a very sad situation. And many of them have been, facing killers on their way. They get killed, they lose their organs, which eventually would lead them to death, loss of life. And this has been, mentioned by the government media, and of course, not only the ministry media, but the social media again. People, citizens, should take, precautions. They need to avoid, these kinds of risks, and to do that, they need to follow, proper or legal means that has been, verified by the government. So these things need to be put under consideration by all of us.
ባለፉት 2 ሳምንታት ውስጥ በርካታ የዲፕሎማሲ ስራዎች የተከናወኑበት ነው።
In the last 2 days, President Taye Atske-Selassie received credentials of 24 ambassadors. The ambassadors have confirmed that they would work hard to further strengthen ties between Ethiopia and their respective countries in their tenure. They are also ambassadors of nations which have just opened their embassies in Addis Ababa. Now, the embassies in Addis Ababa have reached 137. His Excellency, Foreign Minister and State Minister of Ministry of Foreign Affairs have also received various dignitaries and discussed mutual and regional matters. All the visits of delegations to Ethiopia implies that Ethiopia's diplomatic influence is increasing. It has an implication that the role of Ethiopia in peace and security of the region as well as the globe.
በሀገራችን እየተተገበረ ያለው ሁሉን አቀፍ የኢኮኖሚ ማሻሻያ
The recent macroeconomic reform of Ethiopia is creating a good atmosphere to the business and trade activities. Many companies are expressing their interest to work with Ethiopia. Through its president, the Asia Infrastructure Development Bank has affirmed its commitment to be as a financial source for Ethiopia. Totally more than 20 foreign companies from China, India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Israel have visited Ethiopia in the past few weeks.
We all are celebrating this anniversary, and I myself am happy that we're having this anniversary right now, and I hope you do the same.
I am so delighted as well.
Yes.
And I hope everyone is so delighted.
Yes.
And for the nation, nationalities and peoples all over Ethiopia, we wish them to have a wonderful, great nations and nationalities People's Day.
Yes, and the other thing was, of course, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Nebiat Getachew, has spoken on Ethiopia's stand regarding the role it plays in the Horn of Africa, and of course, just the significance of the economic reform, especially in inviting, more foreign direct investment in the country, and Ethiopia's diplomacy to make people that have been, to make Ethiopians that have been stranded in Neymar, for example. Brahana, thank you very much for the time the two of us had together. And
Pleasure is all mine.
I hope that our viewers have enjoyed our program. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Viewers, you've been watching our program that has entertained a variety of issues that happened over the week, and today's program ends right here. Next time we'll come up with other issues. Until then, goodbye.